The word Ekev means a heel or a footstep. Pasuk in Shir Hashirim tells us, go out, follow in your forefathers' footsteps. The word for footstep is ikve, the heel of a person. Ikve hatzoyin. Again, by the Mizbeach, the Kehanim were not allowed to take large steps on the Mizbeach. They took tiny little steps. They walked Ekev b'tzad ha'goydel. They walked with their heel right next to the big thumb of the other foot. The pasuk tells us by Yaakov Avinu, v'yodai oichezes ba'akev Esav, that when Esav was born, he was born first, and Yaakov Avinu was holding on to Esav's heel. And Yaakov Avinu is called Yaakov because of this seemingly insignificant detail that happened during their birth. For in his entire life, he's called Yaakov because he held on to Esav's heel. Why is that? Esav means asui. Esav was born complete. In today's world, in the Olam Hagashmi, a person wants instant gratification. I do something, I want all pleasures right away. I want to flick a switch and for everything to happen. I want to click a mouse and everything should happen. A person doesn't get it when it comes to the pleasures of Olam Hagashmi. There's no toiling, there's no haravania, there's no working, there's no putting in effort day after day after day in order to achieve the pleasures. Esav is asui. Esav is the Olam Hagashmi. Esav is this world full of pleasures, and everything, he came out totally complete. That's the instant gratification. Yaakov Avinu held on to Akev Esav. Yaakov Avinu knew that if a person wants to reach the Madrega of Asui, where he completes, where he fulfills, it has to be Ba'ekev. He has to take little steps at a time. One tiny little step after another, and with every step that he takes, he'll come closer and closer and be able to achieve whatever it is that he's out to achieve. And that's the essence, that's why he's called Yaakov Avinu. So we have to set, besides the long-term goal, in this case finishing Shas, we know that we want to finish Shas, but how is it that we want to get there? If we only have the long-term goal, then we sit back and say, okay, I want to finish Shas. Is it going to happen today? It's not going to happen today. So I'll take a day off. I'll take a day or two off. It can't happen that way. Besides for the long-term goal, a person has to have short-term goals. How do I want to finish Shas? What is my game plan? It's not only Shas. In every endeavor, the endeavor the person decides to take upon himself. He's got to have a daily plan, a daily quota. What is it that today I want to accomplish? Because if he doesn't have a daily quota, what he wants to fulfill daily, then there's no way that he'll be able to fulfill whatever it is that he wants to fulfill. I think that's what David HaMelech is telling us. Gam avdecham nizhar bahem. How is it that a person can be meticulous, can be careful in keeping the Torah and learning the Torah that's sweeter than honey, that's more precious than diamonds and stones? B'shamram ekev rav. He needs to have short-term goals. He needs to have long-term goals. He needs to have ekev. He needs to have the short-term goals, taking one little step at a time, knowing what is it today that I want to accomplish. What do I want to accomplish tomorrow? How am I going to see to it that my day tomorrow is a fulfilled day? On the other hand, he also has to have a long-term goal. So there's b'shamram ekev and there's rav. Rav is the great goal that he wants to achieve, and ekev is the little steps, one at a time. And I think it's self-understood why it is that in Sfiras HaOmer the Torah gives us two mitzvahs. Count every day and make sure to count the weeks. Because while we are aspiring for Sheva, Shabbosais, Tamimais, for 7 complete weeks, the only way to achieve complete weeks is if every day of those weeks is utilized to its utmost. If we stop and we focus, what is it today that we want to accomplish? What am I going to do to make sure that tomorrow is a fulfilling day? What am I going to do for the Rebbeinu Shalom today? What am I going to do for the Rebbeinu Shalom tomorrow? Every day, we shouldn't let a day fall by the wayside. The Be'er Manchaim writes that the Gemara says in Brachas that if somebody sees the Yetzer Hara is getting the better of him, Yalskir lo yom hamisa, he should remember the day that he's going to die. Be'er Manchaim says that when a person sees the Yetzer Hara getting the better of him, he should remember that if he sins now, if he loses this battle, then today's day is going down the tubes. This day is going to die, and this day he's never going to get back. Yazkir lo yoim hamisa, he should remember today's day is going to be a dead day, a day without any chiyas. The Daf Yomi is such a tremendous accomplishment. It gives everybody a certain quota for the day. Nobody goes to work, nobody goes to bed at night without learning the Daf. It makes sure that every day of a person's life is a fulfilling day. The Rav of Yerushalayim, Reuven Bengis, used to make a Siyum Hashas every single year. One year, a month or two after making a Siyum Hashas, he gathered again the whole community in Yerushalayim and made another Siyum Hashas. And they asked him, Rabbeinu, what's going on? You just made a Siyum Hashas. 2 months you finished Shas. So he said, I'll tell you what. So I go around to Bristol. I have chuppahs that I have to go to, simchas. I'm always going from one to the next. He said, I made a seder that when I'm waiting around for the chassan and kala, for the mechaton to show up, when I'm in a bris waiting for the moil to show up, whatever it is, and I have an extra few minutes, during those 5 minutes I have a seder. He said, throughout the years I started with brachas. He said, today I finished that seder, I finished through using all those minutes, I finished Shas again. To achieve this tremendous accomplishment of finishing Shas, like Yossi said, you've got to learn, whether you're on the train, you're on the bus, I don't have the whole list, whatever. But you got to constantly, whenever a person has a few minutes, to utilize them. And like Yossi said, we can all testify to it, that Yossi, whenever he has an extra few minutes, is learning Torah. I hear from the guys on the bus that Yossi sits the entire time on the bus with his Gemara. When we have a few minutes between Mincha and Marav and Shul, Yossi pulls out the Gemara. When I get up to speak, Yossi pulls out the Gemara. They tell a story of a taxi driver who came up to the pearly gates, and they right away let him into Shemayim, they let him into heaven, and the Malachim wanted to know what's going on. So the Rebbeinu Shalom said, when people got into this guy's car, they prayed. And he's going to Shemayim. I don't know how effective my speeches are, but I'm going to Shemayim because when I get up to speak, Yossi learns. Yossi is an extremely disciplined person in all areas. It's not only Torah, it's been Adam Lachaveira, it's been Adam Lamakam. He doesn't miss a minyan no matter how late he comes in from work Friday afternoon. He's there. He's there on time with the commitment to Shul. He's punctual. It's at home. Ben Adam Lachaveira with his kids. He is an extremely disciplined and a person who has his sights set on what he wants to achieve, and he achieves them because he sets realistic goals for himself and fulfills them. Shas is an acquisition of learning Torah not for 7 years, but 365 days for every one of those 7 years. The Eibush is a helpful. We should all learn from Yossi's example and be able to set goals for ourselves, long term, short term, achieve them, and be zeicha to the Binyan Beis HaMikdash. B'mheira v'yameinu, the Rav Twerski says, we ask b'mheira v'yameinu, speedily in our days. The word v'yameinu means in our days, but v'yameinu can also mean with our days. With every day that we utilize, we use the day the way we should use the day. We make a Kiddush Shem Shamayim, we learn Torah, we daven the way we should. Every day that we utilize, the Rebbeinu Shalom forms a brick out of that day and builds it, adds it to the Beis HaMikdash. We ask, the Rav Twerski says, we ask that the Rebbeinu Shalom build Yerushalayim b'mheira b'yameinu. He should, with our days, he should be able to build Yerushalayim b'mheira b'yameinu. Amen.